Happy Saturday, everyone. I am here and I hope that you had a great Saturday. I know the weekend is not over, but I just want you to know that I am encouraging you to enjoy the weekend. This weather has been just amazing. Of course, I was born in the fall, so I am definitely enjoying this crisp weather. And I just encourage you, go outside and sit on the porch, take a walk, and just really enjoy the weather and just practice some mindfulness. Let's listen to the crickets, look at people walk, just take deep breaths, hear the trees, blowing, just really take advantage of this time. I think that it will richly bless you. Okay, so let's jump right on in. Welcome to day 9 of the 25-day Wife Life Live experience. I am so glad that everyone is continuing to be very supportive of this journey, and I cannot do it without you guys. You guys are, have been my rock, and you guys have been riding with me. Some of you have been riding with me from when I was doing live videos on my phone. So I'm just very grateful that you guys continue to uplift me and keep me in prayer. Keep me in prayer as I continue to do what the Lord has told me to do. So let's just jump right on in. Day number 9 of the 25-day Wife Life Live experience. If this is your first time joining, we have until September the 25th until this experience comes to a close. But as we before we get to September the 25th, there is a lot going on. And I'm very excited about it. The 25-day Wife Life Live experience is really an opportunity for me to share my personal experiences with you about wife life, and for you to be empowered to take a look at your own personal experiences and really peel back the layers on your personal experiences. So in wife life. So I'm very excited to continue this journey with you guys. As I have shared in some of my previous videos, I do not prep the topics that I do. I like to just kind of, be led by the Holy Spirit. And every day, I'm just really, asking God to speak to me about what it is that He wants me to say to you guys and how to empower you guys. And so that's what I do. So today we are talking about we can't make it, right? We can't make it. So why did I pick this topic, right? What was the reason? What drove me, right? What got me to this topic and why? So, I know that, many of you are probably like, probably take that topic and, that topic can be very multifaceted, right? But when I'm talking about we can't make it, I'm talking about not being able to make it to certain things, right? And so why did I pick this topic? I picked this topic and I chose this topic because if you're anything like me, if you're anything like my husband, or if your spouse is anything like my husband and I are very involved, right? We have family, we have friends, we have church family, we have community, we have jobs, we have, all these different, ministries. We have so much going on, right? But sometimes you just have to tell people, we can't make it, right? We just can't, right? We're just not able to make it. And so one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this is because, I think that this is something that, a lot of couples, primarily women, this is something that we are afraid to say, right? We are afraid to say, we just can't make it, right? And so the 3 areas that I really wanted to, really talk about, is not being able to make it mentally, emotionally, and financially, right? And so sometimes so let me just go back. So one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this, topic is not only because I feel that, a lot of people experience this, but also because this is something that we've experienced when we first got married, right? When my husband and I first got married, we would work all day, we would do something in the afternoon, we had all these different things going on, the weekend came, we were up Saturday morning, 7 o'clock, volunteering here, going to this birthday party, doing this, going to this meeting, doing this. Sunday, we go to church, we go to this meeting, we do this, and and then it all just became gray, right? It all just became gray. And it got to a point where it's like, okay, when do we tune into one another? Right? When do we really begin to tune into one another and be intentional about that? Right? So, if you're anything like myself, or, if your marriage is anything similar to mine, as far as, like your social life and just community and, just your friends and your family, people have a lot going on, right? And we want to support people. We want to be there because they were there for us, right? But the reality of it is sometimes you just get tired, and not just individually, but you get tired as a couple. Right? You just get tired. And so one of the questions that I want to ask you guys tonight is, how are you being able to advocate for yourself, not just individually, but as a couple, right? As a couple, do you find yourselves, so busy on the weekends, doing this, going to this birthday party, going to this meeting, doing this, that, you guys never really have time to spend time with each other, or let alone have a date night, right? So, I have 3, just very plain topics, three, key tips that I think will really, help you guys and support you guys, and ultimately for you to be empowered. Before I get into those strategies, I think that, it's important to always go back, to my mission, and that is to, inspire you and empower you to peel back your layers one day at a time. So during this 25-day Wife Life Live experience, I really want you to peel back your layers. So when we begin to talk about not being able to make things, or not being able to go to this, not being able to go to that, what is the real reason behind, you not being able to say no, right? What is the real reason behind, you just saying, babe, I'm tired, and I feel like if I go to another thing, right, another event or something else, I'm going to fall out, right? Or I'm just exhausted. So I can personally say, for myself, I think, when my husband and I first got married, I think one of the reasons why, I did not, say, oh, we can't make it, is because, I wanted to be everything to everybody. Right? I was a people pleaser. I felt like I just had to go to everything. I didn't want anyone to be upset with me. I didn't want anybody to be mad at me. I didn't want to miss anything. But the reality of it is I had to get to a space, and I had to get to a point where I could say, you know what? We just can't make it. Right? We just can't make it. And I think for myself, I think it gets to a point where, when your husband begins to, verbalize his need, right? Babe, I need you, right? And sometimes that just means that both of you just can't go to something, right? We just can't make it, right? So let's start with the 3, strategies and the 3 tips that I want to give you guys tonight. So the first tip that I want to give you guys tonight is to set a designated time each day to have quiet time for one another. I think that not only is it important, to have date night on the weekends, or, whenever you guys choose to have date night, but it is important to set aside quiet time for the both of you, right? Each and every day. So, for us, I can say that, in the afternoons, and in the evenings, my husband and I, both need to decompress, right? We both need to talk about our day. We both need to, to process certain things, and we need feedback, right? We need that type of feedback to be able to lock in with one another. right? And not only that, but we just need time just to lock in, right? Just to lock in and just being able to communicate a little bit more. I truly believe that you will find time to, establish that. And if you guys are struggling, really come together and say, you know what, babe, I really feel like, we need to talk about and prioritize, some time, throughout the day where, at the end of the day or before the day where, you and I really come together and talk about some things, right? And so, yes, set a designated time each day. Wow, excuse me. Never sneezed lost before, so excuse me for that. Setting a designated time, I think would be very, very helpful for you guys. I think that when you set a designated time, you will find yourself really being able to just be more present with one another and being more intentional with one another. Okay. So the second point that I want to make is being honest about over committing to things, right? Being honest about over committing to things. I think this is probably, one of the most, difficult things that, we as women, sometimes, face because, we want to go to everything. We want to see everybody. We want to see everybody's baby. We want to go to everybody's bridal shower. We want to go to every church event. We want to go to every, we just want to do everything. Right? We don't want to stay at home and sit in the house. We want to do everything, right? And I think the reality of it is we have to become honest and vulnerable with our spouse about overcommitting to things, and really saying that, so for example, my husband and I, I use Google Calendar, right? I use Google Calendar for, my work stuff. I use Google Calendar for my personal life. I use it for ministry. Google Calendar is like, my go-to, right? And so whenever someone, if my husband and I have already established a date, like that we're going to have date night, or if my husband and I have already, established a time where, we just don't do anything, like I don't book anything for that. And I just say, girl, we just not going to be able to make it, or, I'm just busy that day. Right. And the reality of it is I might not be physically busy, but I am, being busy because I am being intentional with my husband. Right. And so that goes with being honest about overcommitting. And overcommitting, sometimes we become so programmed to overcommitting that we don't even realize that we're doing it. Right. We don't even realize that we're doing it. And, I think for me, I can personally say I got to a point where I was tired, right? I was tired and I just felt like I just couldn't go anymore. I was mentally, emotionally, and financially drained because I was doing everything for everybody. Okay. So, last point number 3 is planning a getaway every now and then. This one is my favorite. Planning a getaway every now and then, for us, it's really an opportunity to rejuvenate, to restore, and to refresh, right? And so, for me, I can personally say that, when my husband and I first started out, we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have, a lot of resources because we had just gotten married. And so, some of the things that I would really, empower you to do, or to, to really think about is, if finances are, a barrier, or, that keeps you from being able that keeps you guys from being able to, go somewhere or do something, I would just say take a day trip to the beach. I would say, maybe, get a hotel room. I would say go to the park. I would just say, one of the fun things that my husband and I used to do is that we would have fake snow days, right? And so we would close the blinds in our apartment. We would pretend like it was snowing outside. And we would go to the grocery store. We would get a whole lot of snacks. And we would be on watching TV. We would, just and be in the house for like the whole weekend and pretend that it was like snowing outside. I know that sounds crazy, but that was just kind of where we were at the time, and that's how we were able to lock in with one another, right? So no judgment there. So really, and I think also too, I think money is so tight. I think, really being intentional about 6 months out saying, you know what, like right now, my husband and I are saying, okay, December, we're going to do this, December, we are going to go here, next year, for our summer, this is where we're going to go. Okay, spring, we can do something short. And so being intentional about saving for those things, so that you guys can get a getaway, right? Or even again, if finances are an issue, having a fake snow day. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, it works, and it's really an opportunity for you guys to lock in. Okay. And so what I really wanted to talk about with the 3 things of being, mentally, emotionally, and financially taxing, when it comes to not, being able to tell someone that you can't make it, that really goes back to, burnout, right? It's the same, when we are on our jobs and, sometimes we're at our jobs and we don't even begin to, realize or understand the symptoms and the signs of burnout. It's the same in marriage. Sometimes, we're so programmed, to do things, we've been married for so long, or we're new to marriage, and we don't even recognize when we have burned out. And when you burn out in marriage, guess what? You check out, right? When you burn out in marriage, you check out. So what that means is when you burn out and you're doing 50,000 different things, eventually you check out with your spouse and you check out altogether, right? I can even say, I know for myself when I begin to kind of burn out because, I'm not really present. I'm tired. I want to go to sleep all the time. I don't want to go to the gym. I'm overeating. I am short. I'm moody. I'm irritable. And so those are kind of the signs that I see that I'm not really, talking with my husband that much. I'm not really opening up as much to him, and so that I begin to check out because I'm burned out, right? So when it comes to financially burning out, how many of us go to the mall, don't have that much money in our account or in our budget, we buy a pair of shoes, and then we go home and hide them? How many of us do that? Right? How many of us do that? So it's the same thing in marriage, right? When you are in a relationship, you get to a point where, you're trying to please everybody. You're trying to just go, 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 go. And you get to a point where you burn out financially, right? And sometimes it takes us to look at our budget and to say, dang, I spend my money on things that are not even relevant, right? These are things that are minute. And so in your marriage and in your relationship, you will find that you might be burning out financially because you're trying to go, go, go all the time when your house is not even in order, right? And so I hope that those 3 tips really empowered you. If you're just coming on, I want to welcome you, and I personally want to say thank you, for taking some time out on your Saturday to join me. The 3, tips that I was able to come up with was 1, setting a designated time for you and your spouse to have together daily. Point number 2 was being honest about overcommitting. And point number 3 was understanding how you can burn out financially, right, with your spouse. And then looking at all 3 of those tips from a mental, emotional, and financial standpoint. I think that is very, very, very important. Okay? I think that is very, 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 very important. Ladies, you gotta take a break sometimes. You have to take a break. And sometimes people might be mad, right? People might be mad. People might feel some type of way, but at the end of the day, God, my husband, and me. Right? God, my husband, and me. And when you get to a point where you're emotionally drained, you're mentally drained, and you just go, 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 and then you get to a place where you're not even present you're there, you're physically there, but your mind isn't there, your emotions aren't there, your heart isn't there, right? And so we want to make sure that we are always being rejuvenated, restored, to ultimately be revived, right? To be revived again, right? Our energy. Because sometimes we don't even have the energy, right? We don't even have the energy, right? So I am over my time. I do try to keep it short with 15 minutes. You guys have been quiet tonight. I hope that everyone is safe and everyone is okay. If you are free tomorrow is Sunday, you can head over to my Instagram and Facebook to check out some information. Our call-in sick support call is going down tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Our guest speaker for tomorrow will be Jennifer Spears, and I'm very, very, very excited about that. Today I did share a sneak peek of what is to come on September the 25th. Please mark your calendars for that date. I have a big announcement to make on September the 25th at 9:25 p.m. So a great way to think about that is 9:25 at 9:25 p.m. And so again, I just want to thank everyone. As you can see, I think I'm tired. Everybody else might be tired. And so as always, I want to thank you so much for joining me. And I hope that you were able to be empowered tonight. And just remember to say sometimes we can't make it, right? Remember those 3 things. Remember how those 3 tips impacts you mentally, emotionally, and financially. And think about saying, we just can't make it. We want to do as much as we can for others. I'm just like Christ did for us. But, sometimes we just have to say we can't make it, right? You can head over to my Instagram at Shanetta J. Harrell. You can find me there. In my Linktree app, you will find my blog, links to Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And you will also find these videos posted there on my YouTube channel as well as Wake Up Wise. Again, September the 25th at 9:25 p.m. I am closing out. And as always, share with a sister, love a sister, and empower a sister. My name is Shanetta J. Harrell. I am an online wife life resource, and I am empowering millennial wives and women to peel back their layers one day at a time. Good night, ladies. See you tomorrow.